If you are thinking of building a home in Michigan, you better think again. I'm actually just kidding about that. You don't really have to think again if you don't want. But there are some questions that you should be asking. What are those questions? Who has the answers? Well, you, my newfound friend, are in luck because I made a list and I checked it twice and I put them in this video, and we're getting started right now. And hey, if you are new here and you're new to me, my name is Luane. I am with the Glover Agency in Metro Detroit, and I work out of our Fenton office, and I make videos about all sorts of cities, towns, and even villages in the Metro Detroit and Mid-Michigan area. So if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Because when you do that, you will be notified each and every time we drop a new video, which is weekly. And if you want to buy, or in this case, build a new home anywhere in Michigan, reach out. Because I'm also a full-time realtor and I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people buy, sell, build all over mid-Michigan. All right, so before I actually get into this list, I want to point out that if you currently are working with a real estate agent on purchasing a home, most and really actually almost every builder will allow you to use your buyer's representation agent. And they will pay them. And it's kind of baked into the price of the home. And it's really important to have somebody looking out for your interests because realtors are going to ask all these things that you're not going to think about. And don't think too that if you go in and drop your agent just to go in and build, that they're going to give you a discount because you're not using an agent or represented, because it doesn't really work that way. If you don't use an agent, that's just more money in their pocket. And if you don't have an agent, well, you can always reach out to me because I'll ask all these questions. I have personally built several homes, remodeled several homes, and even acted as general contractor on the last build that we did. And the house is still standing. So I know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to the building process. All right, so the very first question that you need to ask is, what is the required deposit or down payment on the home? So if you're buying an existing home, you can generally expect to pay about 1% of the total purchase price, usually up to about $5,000 for an existing home. Builders are different. So the builder can ask you to put anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 down on the purchase of the home. And that's just to get your project started. So you should expect to pay between 3 and 10% of the total price of your home as a down payment. And if it's a custom built home and you're building a really large home with a lot of customized features and maybe even some weird or unique things, you're probably going to have to put down even more. And the reason for that is the builder has to cover himself in case you bail on the build for any reason at all. He might have to then sell your fully custom home that's been customized to you to another buyer, and he's probably going to lose some money because the items that you wanted in it are not going to be what they want. It's also important to note that your deposit does go toward the purchase of your home. Lots and lots of people ask me that, whether they're buying or building. And yes, it goes all the way through the purchase and it is credited to the buyer's side at the closing table, so you're not losing anything. But they will take that money that you're putting down and they will use that to start your build. Now, the second question that you're going to want to ask, of course, is the deposit refundable? And if so, under what conditions and timelines is it refundable? Stuff happens. I've been in real estate long enough to know that people lose jobs at inopportune times. That actually happened to me when we were building a house. They literally dug the basement and I was laid off from my job the next week. Well, talk about feeling sick. But I was able to get another job fairly quickly. It was in the same line of work. It did not affect our financing. Things like that, like not being able to get financing, you might be able to get out of the deal. But if they've already ordered your things and started the build, it gets harder as it goes on because the builder is not just going to come out of his pocket to build your home. Third question that you need to ask is, are there any incentives for me to build with you? Now, sometimes builders offer things like free appliances, free lot upgrades, closing costs. They might pay for your appliances, all if you sign by a certain date. And they do this because it's important that they keep the build rolling and that they keep their contractors busy so they don't move off to another build site. So if you don't ask, sometimes you'll never know. Also, another thing that I learned in this line is the purchase price of a new built home is not necessarily the purchase price. When they add everything up, you can make an offer. They don't have to accept that offer, but you can offer a little less than the purchase price, and depending on the climate in the building community, you may get away with getting a discount on your build right up front. The next question that you need to ask is, what is the average timeline? And also, what is the current timeline to build? Because timelines change due to all sorts of things. And most builds can take anywhere from 3 months to a year or more if you're building a very large custom home. And that's just the construction part of the home build process. That means that you've already been in, you've looked at all the models, you've picked out what you want, you've maybe signed your paperwork and made your selections. Then it would be maybe 5 or 6 months from that point. But you can't count it from the first minute you walked into the door at the builder's model. And you also I need to point out that many things can be out of the builder's control. Things like the weather, permits, labor shortages or illnesses, global pandemics, and supply chain issues. But of all of these things, the most important thing that you can do to ensure that your build stays on target as far as the dates go is to get your decisions made and get them into the builder as quickly as possible. Make an appointment, take your interior designer, your spouse, get over there and pick out what you want. Because you can't be mad at them if they're behind if you've not even given them the colors that you want for your cabinets or countertops. The builder of your house usually orders this stuff well in advance. And I've known some that actually buy all of it and stick it in a warehouse to keep the prices where they are. So you're not going to be able to come in after the fact and start making changes. Like if your home has the basement dug and the walls are going up, you are going to pay a shit ton to move those walls or make any structural changes at that time. Oftentimes when you're making changes like that, there will be a non-refundable deposit or fee associated. And of course that brings us to our next question. Can I make changes to the plans and how are they charged? Also, at what point is it too late to make any? Well, there are some builders that just throw all of their houses up there. They are what they are. You can't move a wall. You can't take a bathroom out or add a bathroom. You can't do anything. The price is the price, and this is what it includes, and that's it. Other builders will let you make small choices like that, and they may even have some of these options figured out and put on a price. Like, I think in one of the houses that was in our first neighborhood, you had an option of a 4th bedroom. So if you went with a 4-bedroom plan, it changed the layout a little bit, but it did give you that 4th bedroom. And there was a social cost associated. They may charge you a set amount to put in a bonus room upstairs or to finish your basement. And they would have all of those listed out. You know, they're ordering your items way in advance. The items that they need for your home are most likely not sitting on the shelf at Menards or Home Depot. So you can't expect them to just drop everything, run up there, get the extra things, and make the change that you want. It's a much more complicated process than that. The next question to ask is there a warranty on the build? Most builders offer a 1-year warranty on their construction, and this includes things like, obviously if your water heater goes out in the first month, or nail pops, drywall seams, and, peeling paint from the seams. These are some of the things that we're going to address at about the year mark. And I just want to remind you that, if you smashed your piano into the wall when you were moving in, that's not something that your builder is going to have to cover. That's something that you should have fixed because it was your fault. Now, they might fix it for you if they're nice guys, but they may charge you for it as well. So don't try to pull a fast one over on them. They know the difference. The next question that you should be asking is, what are the standard features? What comes with the house standard? Do they have flooring? Is linoleum standard? Is wood standard? Are the countertops quartzite, granite, or formica? What goes into the bathrooms? Which cabinets are standard and which are an upgrade? Oftentimes there will be different finishes that are available in a standard package, but most of those things are going to be upgrades. For instance, on a fireplace, instead of having slate around the fireplace, you might have marble. It's also crazy, but home builders don't include a lot of things like an AC unit. Yeah, right? I mean, that was our builder. We did not get an AC unit. Now, we were moving in the fall, so we didn't need it at that particular time. But I'll tell you what, if you closed on your house and you're moving into your brand new $500,000 home in the heat of summer, and that's when you find out you don't have any AC, you are going to be pissed. So be sure that you ask these questions and plan accordingly. Do not just go for the largest home that you can afford with the standard features. Bigger isn't always better, and if it's cheap, it's usually cheap for a reason. Now, there was a builder here in Michigan, still doing business actually, that they actually were so cheap that rather than put some type of a hard surface floor into the bathrooms, they carpeted all the bathrooms. And I mean, you go into your master bedroom and you've got carpet, master bath, you've got carpet up to the bathtub, the shower, and the toilet. Ugh, it's just disgusting. Nobody wants carpeting in a bathroom. And trust me, if they're going to get cheap on something that's so visible in a home, you can bet that they have gone cheap on a lot of things that you don't even know about. Another thing that you need to ask when it comes to the construction of your home are things that you cannot change after your home is built. For instance, we used to call it putting an extra block on the basement. Basement ceilings generally were 8 foot, and if you finish your basement, you're probably going to have more like a 6.5, 7 foot ceiling. However, if you put an extra block on your basement or have the walls poured, which is what they generally do now, to a certain height, that makes a huge difference if you plan on finishing your basement. Likewise with the ceilings inside the home. You can have 9-foot ceilings or 8-foot ceilings. 9 foot always looks bigger. Same thing with your garage. Is it a 2-car garage? Because I'm going to tell you, the 2-car garage is just going to hold that, 2 cars, and don't expect to be able to open your doors inside. You have to be really skinny to get in and out of those car doors. You probably just got to push your car up into the garage after you get out of it. That's what you get with a 2-car garage. So you're going to want to go 2.5 because you're probably going to have a lawnmower and a snowblower if you're here in Michigan and a few other gardening tools. And so you're going to want to have a little more room. In one of our homes that we built, there was like a little bay in front of one of the parking spots, and it came standard at a certain size, but we expanded that part of the garage, which was super inexpensive to do, right before it was built. And we were able to fit our camper into the garage, which was great because we couldn't have it out on the driveway according to the association, but we were able to keep it at our home. The next question that you are going to want to ask is, what are the options? What's available? Most builders will have a complete list for you of the things that are available for upgrading. You're going to want to take a look at that list and do some price comparison because not everything that they offer you is at the best price. You may be able to pick some items up at a better price and have them installed after the fact, like maybe a specific faucet for your kitchen sink. If you want one of those big industrial type things and your builder doesn't have anything like that, you can purchase that item, maybe drop it off over there when the plumber comes to do the finished plumbing. It's also super important to have a vision of what you want in your home. So, we've all gone through Pinterest and saved things. Make a new home build board, and whenever you see finishes that you like, color schemes that you like, put those things in there. You can do one for your kitchen, for your bathrooms, for your bedrooms, your living area. Back when I built my last house, we didn't have Pinterest or Instagram, so I had a book. I had a vision book, and it had everything in there. It had the floor plans. It had the colors of everything, samples. If I couldn't get samples, I took a Xerox color copy of the item that I was wanting in the home. And that way I could take that book everywhere and be able to see what worked with it and kind of show people what my vision was when I was working with them on the home. Now, most builders are going to have a design center that you can go to. Most of the time it's right in the model. It might be in a bedroom or it could be in the garage part of the home. And they'll basically have everything there that you need, everything that's standard, everything that they offer that's an upgrade, so that you can pick from all of these items. Now, if they don't have it on site, they may have it at a community nearby that you'll go to when you actually do your paperwork and pick out all those selections. And speaking of upgrades, a lot of builders require as a mandatory to have a certain amount of money set aside for landscaping. And trust me, you can spend anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000 and more on your landscaping. So you'll want to be sure that you understand what's required, when it's got to be done by, when you have to have a patio or deck in. All of those things may be listed in your association documents, or the builder himself may have requirements. I know it's kind of crazy that landscaping isn't included in most builds. You just kind of roll in with a dirt lot. That's what we did. And then we had to go get a piece of sod to put down so our dog could go to the bathroom because she had no idea what to do with a bunch of dirt. Now, another thing that you're going to want to look out for is when you first go into a subdivision is which lots have lot premiums. 9 times out of 10, go for the standard lot. It's not going to make that big of a difference in your future pricing if you spent $10,000 or $20,000 more on that lot, unless it's giving you a spectacular view of a lake or access to something that isn't available in the rest of the neighborhood. That would make it be the difference here. But most people are not going to care that you paid 50 grand extra for the lot premium if it doesn't provide them with something special. The next question that you need to ask is, will there be an association? What's included in the association fee, and what is the fee? Also, what sort of rules and regulations and restrictions will there be on the use of your lot? Now, a lot of people overlook this when they're buying a home and also building a home, but it's super important. So I'd love to know what you think about this list, and if there's anything that you would add to it. This is definitely a list that you're going to need to use if you're looking to build a home in Michigan. And if you're still interested in buying or building, reach out. Jump onto my Calendly. I'll answer any other questions that you might have. Also, check out my video about the other areas in Metro Detroit and Southern Genesee County that you might be interested in, and I will see you there.